day, just another day. I prayed soon as I woke, never thought I'd be the victim of a paralyzing stroke. Could be you. I woke up at 5:20 just to start my day to day. On this morning I'm feeling different, damn, feeling some kind of way. I got my coffee, then got my daughter ready, headed out the door. Things seem a little different, I gotta head it down for sure. So I'm off to the babysitter, Miss Mimi is the bomb. As I'm leaving, she was asking, was there something going on?
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing today? Welcome, and I said it again, welcome to another episode of Deaf Taught Us How to Live. If you're new to the show, I want you to let you know that we have great people come on each and every week, and this week is no different. First, before we get started, I want to do a little bit of our, introduction stuff. The intro song, if you are interested in it, is a stroke survivor. His name is Mr. Dosha. He is a stroke survivor and a rap artist that has performed in California. Now he's in Georgia. But this song is called Just Another Day that he has produced and created. If you want to see the video of it, you could go to YouTube. It's connected to our comment section of this particular video. Also, we are on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Stroke Warrior Radio, and I believe Facebook, if I didn't say that already, and also avmsuperhero.com. So please, if you guys are interested and you want to talk to us, at the bottom of the screen, just put in your comments and we will get to them. If you guys hear a sound, it's not a crazy sound. It's just our comments that we want to make sure that we understand that something is coming in. If you hear this sound, that means you guys are talking to us and we want to talk to you. But hey, we did all the logistics parts. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Well, speaking of meat and potatoes, we have a chef. I have this beautiful soul that's going to be on for us tonight. She is a woman that I find very appealing because a lot of her story is similar to mine. I just can't cook. But a lot of things that she has done, I have gone through as well. So let's hear her story and bring her onto the screen. Without any further ado, Jocelyn Harris, or I like to call her Chef J. Chef, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I am fine, my sister. I am so happy to have you on the other side of the microphone. Finally. I've been waiting forever to get this actual episode to come on. But before we go into a whole spiel of my questioning, I want to know a little bit about you, and also my audience want to know who you are. So can you tell us what happened on that unfaithful day when your stroke happened and who you are today?
Okay, yeah. Short and sweet, Jocelyn, short and sweet. So on that unfaithful day, Sunday, as I can recall, I was just napping, like extremely tired. Literally didn't know. I slept for 3 hours. If you know me, that is crazy. I never sleep that long. And I woke up trying to dial because I lost my voice, couldn't speak, couldn't do anything, try to get on my phone to dial, lost the understanding how to use my cell phone at that moment. And I just remember getting up, going into another room, trying to sign for my life, like a bad game of charades, and nobody could understand me. And then I try to sign and ask for pencils and pens. No. Finally, the person that I was with got me to the emergency room, and I just remember a swarm of people around me. And by the way, I did not have a headache at that moment. I know that's the important part of this. I didn't have a headache. I just lost my ability to communicate. Got to the hospital, found out, hey, stroke. Maybe I have a stroke patient, but even after that, scary with all the people surrounding you, come to find out, it was pretty dire that I had a brain aneurysm that had ruptured in that moment. I was in ICU for about 8 to 9 days. This was also during COVID. Came home, and then all the hard work really began. Made the decision not to go into rehab because, as we know, during COVID, rehabs you couldn't come in and out, and I made a strong decision that I wanted to be around my family. There was no way I felt like I could recover in a facility. I'm not saying that about anybody else, but that was just my choice. My family made the decision to get me back and forth to therapy. I'm so grateful for them to this day. Um, and then who am I today? I am Chef J. I'm an educator, a storyteller. I am a community leader. And I'm also a small business owner. And then I speak for a living as well too. So that is who I am today. I'm also newly a high school culinary teacher. So that's who I am today in its small shell.
Okay, thank you, Chef Jay, for giving us that brief synopsis of your life and what actually happened to you. I'm very curious because a lot of stroke survivors come and say, life is over. I don't want to do this. And you're being a little bit coy. A lot more happened to you. And I know you probably don't want to go into a lot of different things, but a lot of things that are similar, you know, we was both, not to each other, but we was both married, but now we're not married anymore. And a lot of things have gone on.
Correct.
So what made you keep on going on to do all these great things after your stroke when a lot of people will give up?
Yeah. I think that's fantastic question. I think the one thing that resonated with me was one God, right? I could not foresee him leaving me here without a major purpose in my life, right? I just knew in that moment that I'm still here, I'm still recovering, I am still in this journey, and he'd had a plan for me. He left me here for a reason. And I think that was the beginning of that fight, that resilience, that need to get up and go and to recover and never to give up. I found that I had a purpose to live. I didn't necessarily know in the beginning what that purpose is, but that purpose was very spot on, and I knew quite from the beginning I was saved for a reason.
Okay, I can get that. I think when I hear that, and a lot of people hear that, they're like, well, you know, you're fortunate. You look great. You don't have these deficits. You don't have it like me. How or what would you say to people that are not able to walk? It could be 2 or 3 years later, you not be able to speak properly because they have aphasia 2 or 3 years later. What would you tell them to inspire them to live their life to the fullest?
Yeah, I just want to say just because I look a certain way, I talk a certain way, doesn't mean I don't have struggles like you, right? I still have aphasia. You know, sometimes the aphasia just doesn't come out all the time. But what I would say to you is keep going, follow your path ahead, keep, follow the light in which you're getting better. Take one day. So in my journey, I took 1 minute, which grew to 1 hour, which grew to one day at a time. And for me, it started with a journal. Now I do understand the reading, the writing, unable to do all that. I started um, a visual, I'm sorry, or a recorded journal. And then also, as I'm learning to write in that space, had a written journal as well. If you can find what makes you happy, keeps you going, wake up every day, keep it, grab it, hold it, and keep pushing forward to keep getting that feeling. I will never tell you that every day is going to be like that because it won't, right? But grasp that feeling that you have that keeps pushing you forward and keep going back to it and remember that.
Okay, I'm gonna grab onto that. I really appreciate you saying that, my sister. I think people really get confused, or they try to compare themselves to other people or their old self and not realizing how powerful they are. They have survived a stroke. They have came so far from what they were when they was in the hospital, and they don't realize how powerful just for them to get up means to everybody else. So if they want to find a purpose, they want to find a thing for themselves to be accountable or to be accepted in society, just be yourself and show up.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. You said all these things that you do now.
Yes.
Did you envision yourself being this productive pre-stroke?
I was productive. I would say, yeah, I was productive pre-stroke. But did I imagine being here today like I am now? No. Um, I think as I think let me touch on something first. I think as I had my stroke and my aneurysm, right? I truly believed that my life was going one way, right? I had a vision. I was going. I was set, and somehow, some way, God came along and said, "Absolutely not. You're not going on that journey. You're going to listen to me, and I'm going to put you on my journey, my path, the way I want you to go." And so, did I have a clue that I was going to be this productive? No. Did I understand what that journey was? No. I just knew that journey or that old me had to die, right? It did die. I had to grieve her in that space, right? And I think that's the one thing we don't talk enough about is grief, how we're grieving our old self. And so when this new Jocelyn came alive, it was like, what am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to be? Who am I supposed, all the things started happening because I knew the old Jocelyn was never going to come back. So I had to be in this new position and learn this new person. And I think that's the productive part that I never saw coming coming back.
Okay, you tickled something there, and I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to tickle. You had to bury the old Jocelyn. What does that mean? Like, walk us through the steps of burying the old Jocelyn so this new one come out this chrysalis to be who you are today, so people can understand what they need to do to get themselves to the better side.
Yeah. Guys, I don't have a full blueprint, right? Because what I want you to understand is not all strokes are the same. There are different reasons, different ways. We have different strokes, they affect different things. So what I'm getting ready to say may not be your blueprint. Your blueprint may look different, but what I can't say is when I decided or when I had my stroke and my aneurysm and I had brain surgery, I didn't realize that person that I once was going to die. It wasn't until almost a month later, as I was starting to get my voice back, learning how to talk, learning how to walk, learning how to do all the things again, that I I'm getting ready to make a joke, and I'm sorry. I kid. I'm like, Christina, she's gone. And if you know Tyler Perry, the Diary of a Mad Black Woman, that is what she's gone, right? I had to come to that understanding that person that once was. I had to realize she's gone, and I had to learn how to build this new person. Now, brick by brick, I had to learn to speak again. What would my voice sound like? What would my new workout regimen look like? What would my new job look like? Am I even going to have a job? I had to build this blueprint brick by brick. No formal training, no anything to guide me. It was just me. For me, it was me, my journal, prayer, and just steady moving along as I was intended. Things finally for me started to somewhat come into that view of, okay, your voice is back. What are you going to say? How are you going to get out there? And I'll be with any stroke survivor, we know with aphasia, if you have it, any type of speech, we don't know how we're going to come out, how we're going to focus. And we have to find what our voice is and how it's going to matter in this world, because no matter if you teach, no matter if you're just every day talking to people, we have to find our new voice. And so for me, that grief process was like that brick layer. We just have to slowly build. Guys, and also I want to be very clear, grief is not linear, right? That's the reason why my journey is very different than what yours possibly is. And so, as I was moving through my journey, my voice came back, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to use it. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but we're here. Um, my walking, my exercise, my working out came back. My food knowledge, I had to relearn knife skills, recipes, all that decided, okay, I'm learning. And some of that decided to, okay, I can somewhat remember. And so brick by brick is how that resilience and that grief and that new Jocelyn that you see today came back. And I had to be patient with that.
Okay, I hear you. We have somebody on our TikTok screen asking us a question or actually saying something. We got Kim Watt Donoho. She says, "Thank you. I have an inoperable AVM and two, possibly three aneurysm, keeping an eye on them all." So she's going through a lot of stuff that she's going through life, and let's speak about that. People that do have the things that it's like a ticking time bomb. They don't know what to do or what to expect. Um, I know for me, Chef Jay, I don't really plan for tomorrow. People ask me what are you going to do tomorrow, things like that. I'm like, I'm think I'm going to do this, but if it doesn't happen. But with that same mindset, I don't sit in my pity. I
Yeah.
have learned not to sit in my pity because I have come so far from where I was before. When I had my AVM rupture in 2017, I used to pull up my feeding tube out my nose. So they used to tie me to the bed so I couldn't do that no more. And I was in Kentucky, about 6 hours away from my house in Atlanta. And I
Yeah.
was with nobody. And it was dire. I felt bad. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to be something different. I'm going to have a different part of my life. I have neuropathy now. I'm pins and needles. I feel pain all the time. But since my stroke, I lived in three countries
Yeah.
and I'm exploring the world. I'm living my life, but I don't have the body that I had before, but I'm still living. So with that same mindset, you did say that every stroke is different, but what I have realized as stroke survivors, knowing that time is limited,
Yeah.
we know that time is limited. We know we might not have the same type of life that we had before. What
Yes.
do you tell those people to change that complaining mindset to the positive mindsets? Because once you just start giving away your energy to positivity, a lot of things come too. So can you explain how that brick by brick that you just said enough is enough, what that aha moment was so you got on your game and stopped complaining and went and lived your life? Can you talk about that, sister?
Sure. I think for me, positivity was a part of my life. And I think a couple things. One, I think the positivity radiates when you decide to take your life back into your own hands, right? When you decide, not the doctors, not your people around you, you make that decision for yourself that, hey, I am going to take my life back into Kim's own hands, Jocelyn's own hands, and I think that was my deciding factor. What you're not going to hear me say every day I woke up and that was every day that was easy, because it's not, right? But the moment that you choose to take it back for yourself is a moment that you change that mindset. That mindset can be strong when you make that decision, not people making those decisions for you. And I think that's part of my journey, is making my own choices, how I choose to be positive and how I choose to wake up, how I choose to be resilient. And it's hard. Let's talk about the hard part out loud. There have been days that I didn't want to be here. There have been days that were a struggle. There have been days I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, even even as I was going through recovery. But every day I made a choice to get up and focus on me and my recovery.
I love that you said that. And I think that's the misconception that people think that we're trying to portray. Like, this is not a bed of roses. There's days that we don't want to get out of bed. There's days that we're in so much pain. But you know what? We got to do it. When you're in your rehab, we're using acute rehab, and you didn't want to get out of bed, and your PT said, "Yo, you got to get up. You got to do this. Just give me 20 minutes." And then 20 minutes turned to 30 minutes. Then 30 minutes came to 40 minutes. Just keep on doing it. Being repetitive. Okay, before we go any further, I got somebody from Instagram talking to us, so let's make sure that we have our Instagram people acknowledge as well. This is another Jocelyn. Wow, another Jocelyn. She's an AVM person, little lady. I like her. She's gonna be on the show in October, and she's saying, "OMG, I know that queen. Hey, girl." She's telling you, "Hey," so I guess you know each other. Yeah, you guys, all you Jocelyns know each other. That's crazy. Love it. But that's the thing, we as survivors,
Correct.
whatever that survivor is, cancer, heart attack, AVM, stroke, aneurysm, whatever it is, you have a certain type of mindset because you understand how precious life is. You remember the days when you was in the hospital bed and somebody had to wipe your butt because you couldn't do it yourself. You know that, and nobody tells anybody about that but us. We know it. So that's the thing that we have in common.
Yeah.
So find your community, find people that understand these things and gravitate to them. Feed off of them. There's no arguments. There's no fighting. It's all love because we know where you've been. We know where you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah. I think we don't talk enough, one, about the grief. We don't talk enough about we have one about the grief and what stroke survivors go through with grief, because we're constantly grieving. I'm not trying to speak to anybody else. I can speak to me, right? That grief, like I said, is not linear. It can hit at any given moment. You think you are going well, you're just chugging along. And then all of a sudden, bam, it hits you. And you're like, oh my God, where am I at? Why am I feeling this way? Why do I not want to get up out the bed? And let's be honest, as recovery, we are still recovering to this day. I feel like as that stroke survivor, there are days I feel like I'm in recovery. And people ask all the time, you look recovered. Oh, do I now? Just because I look away doesn't mean what's going on internally. I'm still recovering. I'm in a constant state of recovery because we know as stroke survivors, right? We can be hit with multiple things: overwhelm, overstimulation. We have fatigue people don't want to talk about. We have these invisible disabilities that would hit us at any given moment. So I'm like in this perpetual state of recovery. But back to talking about us in general and recovery and how we choose, like we wake up and we choose ourselves on the daily when life keeps lifing, right? Life is never going to stop. Let's talk about when in the midst of my recovery, I had to go pick up my dad and I had to become a caretaker in the midst of my recovery. Do you think I was in a space to do that? Not really. Let's talk about when he got sick. I was a caretaker in recovery that somebody was trying to take care of me. That's the double whammy.
Oh, hold on. You're not gonna just breeze over that. That's a lot. I'm hearing you right now. Yeah. So you had a stroke and you had to take care of your father. Yes. That was sick at that time as well. Yes. How did that go?
Woo. Let me just say, a lot of moments that my recovery took the back seat because I was taking care of my father, which he had strokes. And so I brought him down to Texas to live with me. He ended up living with me. We ended up taking care of him. He ended up getting a couple types of cancer, ended up having strokes. So my recovery, I felt, was put on hold. And so taking care of him, making sure he was taken well care of, making sure people could come in the house to relieve me. A lot of times as a caregiver, we don't talk about the silence. because we tend to go silent or just go into this mode of taking care of people. We forget about ourselves in that moment. And in that space, not only was I still recovering, not even 2 years out, I was still in there. I now was taking care of a sick parent. So, what did my recovery look like? Sometimes it was good, sometimes it got to be put on the back burner. I felt like I was constantly having to insert myself into a narrative because I had to recover. I had to sleep. I was, consistently having to take care of another person. And the other thing that I had my mother. My mother came down here to take care of me. She ended up needing to be taken care as well.
Um, we're
Yeah.
gonna keep on going into this, but we also have Kim saying, "I needed this, chef. Thank you for being so transparent." But even on top of that, and I
Yeah.
mean, I'm pulling you there, but I got you because we're being transparent. We this is what we signed up for.
Correct.
You went through a divorce as well.
I did. So divorce, right. So divorce, let's talk about it. I went through a divorce.
This is
Look,
crazy. This is
if
crazy.
so guys, I don't know if you know me and ABM Superhero, we had this podcast thing going on talking about life after divorce. But yeah, I signed up for this and I'm very transparent. I went through a divorce. I went to a different state to move my dad down here with me. My mom came here to take care of me. She ended up getting sick as well. Let's talk about grief on top of grief on top of grief. Not only that, both of my parents, they both passed within 9 months of each other, of me being a caretaker for both of them divorced, living with me. I signed up to have this truth conversation. So I have no problem talking about it. So grief, not only was I in recovery, but I was caretaking for two parents. And they
See, Deaf taught us how to live, family. This is why I brought Chef Jay on, because I want you to understand that you're not alone.
you're not
I'm not saying that your grief is not important. What I'm saying is understand your grief,
correct.
deal with your grief, and you're still gonna have to live. You know what? And you know it. You know it. Anybody that had a stroke, let's say 3 years ago,
Yeah.
at first, everybody came to your house. People probably came by and cooked. People probably cooked you food, cleaned your house, things like that. But after a while, they went back to their lives.
They did. We still
So
living.
what are you going to do? Are you going to keep on complaining because they're going to get tired of you sooner or later? Keep on complaining, keep on complaining, keep on. I'm not saying that you're not sick. I'm not saying that you cannot walk. I'm not saying that your sickness is not real. But who are you going to say it to? Because after a while, after that is all said and done, you still have your issues. So why
We
don't you
still,
just work at it?
yeah. Yep.
And that's why Chef Jay's here, because she's telling us, hey, all these things had to go through, but I still had to work on me. She still had to go through recovery, going through her parents being sick, parents dying, going through a divorce. She still had to go through her recovery. She could have
Yeah.
sat on her soapbox and preached all day, but oh, woe is me, woe is me. But where would that got in her? She'd still have been sick. She'd probably even be worse. A lot of people get themselves even sicker
Yeah.
by them complaining. Do you want to talk about that, Chef Jay?
Sure.
Something else too, and you haven't brought that up. So I want you to bring everything, Chef Jay. Come on, girl.
So I think um with stroke, right, and aneurysm, I think life still is lifing, right? I think that's number one. Life doesn't stop. And I think that's the one thing about having a stroke, aneurysm. Life still doesn't stop. Life still goes on around you. And so I think in general, when life is lifing, we have to learn how to somewhat extract who we are. And that's the lesson that I had to learn, right? I had to understand who Jocelyn was through everything that was happening. And there are days that I honestly did not want to be here because I felt like I had too much on my plate. And we always hear, especially God would never give you more than he can handle. And I was like, that's a bunch of crap. That's crazy work. And I was that person. I was just living there. I was living what people like to call survival mode. I was living in survival mode. I was trying to make sure bills were paid. I was trying to make sure Susie over here was good, my dad, my mom, getting them to work, to their appointments. And then maybe, just maybe, there would have been a little moment for me. But I think through it all, and through the divorce, through it all, and I mean divorce, I mean caring for both parents, I mean planning funerals 9 months of each other, I mean current time trying to now live alone. I I hadn't lived alone, and people don't want to talk about that as a stroke survivor, living alone, still trying to recover, learning how to budget, reminding yourself to take a bath, reminding you, let's talk about it. These are things living alone after everything has succumbed, that has happened, that you now have to live life for yourself, even after everything. These are choices. You wake up, you choose you. I get up every morning, if you follow me on Instagram, and I'll start singing to y'all. And I swear I need some voice lessons. I said, good morning, or something. I'll start singing. And I'm always reminding you guys to be kind to you. Because what happens when you forget you? And that's the lessons through it all. I had to remember I matter. No matter how I was feeling, I had to wake up and choose Jocelyn, no matter what was happening.
Chef J,
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But it's one thing that we are saying all this, and people are like, okay, whatever, that's Peter's rubber as this motivational talk.
Yeah.
But let's get into the trenches of this,
Sure.
because a lot of people don't see the other side and they're stuck in that funk.
Yeah.
Can you tell me that day that you said enough is enough? I know it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I know it hurts, and then all of a sudden you got to the other side and how it feels to be on the other side. It's like a Band-Aid. People have a Band-Aid on, they have the scar, they pulling off that scab. It hurts at first, but after a while, you don't even notice it no more because you got past it.
Correct.
Can you talk about getting past that hurdle of saying, woe is me, I can't do anything? And then when you say, enough is enough, can you explain that process so people can understand that once you actually say enough is enough, something miraculous happens?
I don't know if it's miraculous, but something does happen. I think in that phase of woe is me, I can't do this, to one day you wake up and you're like, oh, sucky. I know I got it. It was like a light bulb moment for me. I don't know if you guys have light bulb, but it was like something went off, like a trigger said, Jocelyn, enough. It was like a voice to myself saying, it's like an inner talk. Okay, you've had enough. You've suffered in silence enough. I'm one of those people that will take everything on and not talk about it out loud to the people, which that's a lesson I also learned. But it's like you go and you are in this funk. You don't want to wake up. You don't want to do the things. And then you wake up one morning, it's kind of like a light bulb goes off. And I know that sounds cliche. And I know you hear motivational speakers say, oh my God, a light bulb went off. And it's just like that. But I want to be clear about that light bulb. That light bulb can dim. That light bulb can go off again. That light bulb can be bright. It is just the phase that you have to keep self-talking to yourself or choosing you on the daily. Sometimes, again, it's a minute, it's a second, it's an hour, it's a day that you have to keep self-talk to yourself. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. Whatever your saying needs to be. Or today, I will stand up. Today, I will smile. Today, I will be kind to somebody. I'm going to be kind to me. So that light bulb moment, it's not always going to stay lit. It's the consistency in the light bulb that you keep talking about it that keeps that light on. Some days it'll be dim, some days it won't even turn on.
You said something earlier. You said journaling. What does that do for you, and what can that do for other survivors out there?
Yeah, I think it just gives you that backstory of where you came from and how far you are going and where you're going to. My journal, um, I started it a month out of the hospital, and then it just kept going on to, I mean, it's still going now, but it allows you, if you can be brave enough to backtrack in that journal to see how far you've actually come. And I'll be honest, I, for the first time a month ago, got brave enough to go back to 2020 and read that journal. Now, I want to be clear too. You don't necessarily have to write a journal, right? We all think of pen paper. If you are able to do that, great. There are such things as digital journals, like you can talk, or maybe you can have somebody write or talk for you, depending on where you're at in that space. But I think journaling does something for me personally. It releases the day. If I journal at night or if I get up in the morning, journal, it releases the things that are constantly up here that I need to get out on paper or I'm talking it through. And I think it also keeps track of the things that are going on. And like I said, if you're brave enough to go back and read, it can show you how far you have come. And I think that is the journal for me. Like I said, I got brave enough a month ago to actually go back to 2020 and read some of my entries and to understand, oh my God, you could barely write or form a sentence.
Isn't that amazing that you can actually see that and you had the strength to go back to do that?
It was a
Um,
struggle.
I get it. I get it. But
Yeah.
now you could do it again and it won't be that much of a struggle. That's the whole point that, Chef Jay is talking about. Once you get over that barrier and that mental block that you have, things gonna get much easier the second time around. You just gotta get over it the first time. You gotta jump off that ledge.
Yeah.
You gotta be the first one to eat the pepper. Be like, oh, this is pepper. I want to use the pepper. You gotta be that first person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you might be 45, 50 years old, but you're gonna have to do it all over again. And that's what
Yes.
you're gonna have to do. You said something earlier. I want to, piggyback off of this. Somebody I know on TikTok. His name is Buddha. I think it's Buddha Chronicles. And every week, probably 2 or 3 times a week, he gets up and do DJ and stuff. But he has short-term memory loss, so a lot of times he don't remember stuff. But he does that DJ thing each and every week, and that's his thing. If you guys look it up, and you can look him up, and you can just rock out with him on weeknights, and that's the whole point. Like, he doesn't go back to work, he doesn't do any of that stuff, but he knows he loves music, and he plays his music, and that's his contribution. That's how he contributes to society. So I'm bringing that up because you guys could do the same thing. You might not be able to talk, you might not even be able to walk, but if you have that talent, whatever that talent is, if you share it and show your love, show the positivity,
Mm,
a lot of things will happen for you. Am I
absolutely.
right?
Just have to make it over that barrier hump. Again, like that light bulb is just a symbol, right? We talk about, I use a light bulb as a symbol because that's something everybody talks about is a light bulb. Just know that light bulb will eventually stay on. But I want you to be honest with yourself. There are going to be still days that life will life. You will go into survival mode. You may need that light may start to get dim again, but that's okay. You still wake up every morning and choose to be who you want.
So we got somebody on Instagram asking me who that person is. It's a he, it's not a she. His name is Buddha. I believe it's Buddha Chronicles on TikTok. If you don't know him on TikTok, if you want me to send it to you, just direct message me on Instagram, and I will make sure I will give you his proper credentials, because I don't see it right now because I'm not on TikTok right now to actually look up his profile. Oh, Chef Jay,
Yeah.
I wanted to get into the second part of who you are after your stroke, but we was so engulfed in what you are and how you got to who you are today, because I think that was very important for us to talk about. A lot of my audience members are people that trying to figure out what to do next,
Sure.
and you figured out how to get to that next part. You talked about, you had a stroke. Talked about you had to take care of your father. You had to bury your mother and father 9 months apart, all throughout recovery, and also going through a divorce. Now, you say you're a speaker, you're a teacher, and you're still a chef,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and please tell us, you know, I know there's hard days, I know there's rough days,
Right.
but today, now, when those hard days come about, what do you do to say, you know what, Chef Jay, you got this. And if you fail, you fail, and you got to move forward. What is that thing that even when you mess up, you keep on moving forward? What is that thing that you say to yourself?
Ooh. I'm really big on saying to myself, be kind, right? Be kind to you. And I feel like I live by that motto. Be kind to you. And part of, because life gets hard, it's going to continue. And I think reminding myself that what you survived and you're still here, sis, be kind. Give yourself also, I say be kind, and give yourself also that space and that grace. Those are the three things that if I'm not having the best day. And what's funny is somebody said to me, I think I was on Instagram, somebody said, hey, one of my friends, he said, I need you to be kind to you. Things didn't work out the way you thought they were, but I'm going to need you to find the kindness and give yourself a little space and grace. And I'm like, you're turning my words around on me. And that is so true. I am big on telling people that, but sometimes I too forget to be kind to me. That I am still surviving as well too.
That's a great point. And you said it very subtle, but I want you guys to understand it. Having great people around you, and also taking accountability when you know you're messing up. Don't just try to hide like, oh, you don't know anything. Da, 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 da. I'm a stroke survivor. Shut up. Don't do that. Be kind to yourself. When people tell you that you're messing up, and people that you love and you trust, believe them, because they love you. This is the reason why they're telling you that.
Absolutely.
All right, we're at the end of our show. So at the end of our show, we do what's called hot seat questions. It's where I ask you 4 questions, and I want to get some responses from you so I can make some reels out of it and share it with the world. And after our 4th question, I want you to close out the show. Tell them anything that you want to tell them, how to find you, whatever. It'll be your show. So without any further ado, are you ready for your hot seat questions?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Hot seat question number 1. If you could tell day one you anything, what would it be?
I've had several day ones, but the one that means the worst was the one that means the most is on December 28th, 2020. It was about 1 month after my rupture and my aneurysm, my stroke. I was home and I had just begun to understand what had happened and trying to even, I was even trying to write and noticing, hey, that didn't look like that. And in that, I remember in my journal, it says, one day at a time, Jocelyn, one day at a time. And I think that was the day one thing that I would tell me now is to pace and give yourself one day, sometimes even one moment at a time, because it'll all work out.
Okay. Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
forgot to tell you, whenever you are done with your question, to say, Avian, I'm superhero, I'm ready for my next question.
got it.
That was my fault. Sorry.
That's all right.
Question number,
I got it.
all right. Question number 2. What single thought kept you moving forward when progress stopped?
Ooh, single thought. Um, I was kept here for a reason. And if my speech returned, I would never surrender my voice again. And that is that single thought that kept me moving through. A lot was changing, and I believed, like I said, I believe I was kept here for a reason. I didn't quite understand the reason for my season, but I knew my voice had a big impact in that. Alien superhero. My next question, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Question number 3. What do people constantly get wrong about stroke survivors?
Oh, can I write a dissertation, a thesis, or like no? But seriously, people make. I think people mistake independence for full recovery. Just because I look fine, I talk fine, I live alone, doesn't mean my disabilities disappeared. And no two survivors recover the same way. I often say, if you're around me, please give me 3 to 7 business days to process what you're saying to me, so I can, understand and process the whole thing of everything that's going on. So I think people make the mistake, one, that independence means full recovery, or they see me doing something and they are wrong. So that is my answer. AVM superhero, I am ready for my last question.
Okay, okay. I got you. You thought I disappeared or you was all scared and nervous. I'm here. All right. Here's the fourth and final question. And
Yes.
like I said, everybody, thank you so much for coming out and listening and watching us. We have another great episode for you next week. But I thank you guys so much for coming out and talking to Chef Jay and asking her questions and talking to her about what you feel like you need to talk about. And hopefully you've been inspired and you get great information out of this show. But it's time for me to go after this question. So, Chef Jay,
Yes.
here's your fourth and final question. And please close out the show when you're done.
Yep.
What is the one thing you want survivors to keep in mind with their recovery?
Yeah. Um, Give yourself space and grace. Space means allowing yourself to make mistakes, grow, fall, come unglued. Take your time. Simply just be. It means learning to listen to your new body. If your body is saying rest, sleep, or not today, ma'am, allow it. Grace means to be kind to yourself when things don't go the way you want them to. Guys, we've been through hell and back. Excuse me, hell and high water. Your life may not look the way it did before. So please stop comparing yourself to everybody. We've got to stop that. Recovery gives you an opportunity to begin again, learn again, try again, rewrite your story. The one thing I will say, closing this out, I want every survivor to remember you are here for a reason. All right, it's the Chef J Show. Hey, if you want to find me on said socials, nope, pause. I'll go to my socials last. You So a little bit about me. You can find me at a few places coming up. You can find me. I'll be at here in Austin, the Legacy on a Plate Festival. I'll be doing some things there. I will be also in the community, usually at the downtown library, doing cooking demos. You can find me there. All this stuff, you can find it on social media. I am Chef Jocelyn on Instagram and Facebook. Um, and you can find usually everything there as well too. Also, just be on the lookout. I'll be around. I also just started as a new high school culinary teacher. I am absolutely in love with that and these kids. And the one thing I will say about high school kids, they understand more than what people give them credit for. So that is all for the Chef Jocelyn show. Stay tuned to the socials and catch me in the morning when I'm talking to you, reminding you to be kind to yourself because sometimes even I need reminding, and so do you. All right. As Greg, AVM superhero, he'd be like, and I'm out. Or Chef, I would say,